We're on page 386. We're in Siman Chaf, chapter 20, Halacha Aleph. Halokach talit. Oh, let's start with the title. Dinei lekichat, the laws of taking, of purchasing, umchirat, and selling talit. Uvo bet seifim. There are two halachot in this chapter. We're talking about purchasing a talit. Where am I allowed to purchase a talit? And who am I allowed to sell a talit to? Says Maran, Aleph, first halacha. Halokach talit mitzuyetzet. If someone buys a talit, the word mitzuyetzet means it has tzitzit on it. What's the difference between a talit with tzitzit and a talit without tzitzit?
Not talit.
Very good. A talit without tzitzit is not a talit. Tzitzit are the knots in the corner. So when we're talking about talit, we're talking about a kosher one that is fit to be used. A white garment with stripes on it doesn't make something a talit, not unless it has tzitzit on it. So someone who purchases a talit from a Jew, o mitagar goy, or if he buys it from a non-Jew who is a merchant, he's a salesperson. I mean, not from some next door neighbor that you bought it from, but you bought a talit from a guy who, he sells things. So he was in Israel and he brought back 30 talitot. You're allowed to buy the tzitzit from him. Kshera, it's kosher. From the Jew we understand, but who says you could buy a talit from a non-Jew? We say kevan de tagarhu, because he is a merchant, a businessman. The Rama steps in here, Haga, v'omer shulchan misrael ne'eman. He says that he bought them from a Jew who is reliable. I believe the punctuation here shouldn't be this way. The punctuation should be v'omer shulchan misrael. He says he bought them from a Jew, ne'eman. You can trust him that he bought it from the Jew. That's what I believe it says. Chazaka. The assumption is shulchan misrael. If he says he bought it from a Jew, he bought it from a Jew. Dilo marea nafshe. He doesn't want to ruin his reputation. What reputation is he going to ruin? What are we worried? We're worried that maybe he didn't buy it from a Jew. Rather, where did he get it from? Some unreliable source. But he says, no, trust me, I bought it from a Jew. Why do we trust him? Who says that we can trust him? He's trying to sell you something. Even though a businessman is always trying to sell you something, there's one thing that a businessman normally tries to do, and that is keep his reputation intact. You see, because businessmen live off of selling things. And if everyone knows that he's a cheat and he's a liar, nobody's going to go buy from him again.
We'll get repeat customers.
Very good. And so we know, hey, listen, I liked my talit last time. My son's having a bar mitzvah. I want to buy one from him again. I'm only going to come back to him if he tells me the truth. This is customer service, and Halacha has actually a name. And this name is Delo Marea Nafshe. He is believed not to want to hurt his reputation. We believe he doesn't want to damage his reputation. Aval bat im lakach mi goy she'eno tagar. But if I purchase it from a non-Jew who is, Dan, this is the halakha we're teaching right now, what you're holding in your hand. If I purchase my talit from a non-Jew, this is exactly,
well,
am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly what I show you guys.
Dan is halakha, Dan is going to show us something. If I purchase the talit from a non-Jew who's not a merchant, he's not a businessman, he does it out of his house. Plus psula, it's not kosher. So, if I buy it from a Jew, a reliable Jew, the talit is okay. If I buy my talit with tzitziot from a non-Jewish businessman, he's the merchant, he's the guy who moves product from one place to another place, he's also reliable because he told me he bought it from a Jew, and I can trust him that it came from a kosher source. But the guy who's selling talitot out of his basement, him, I have to be careful about. Because out of the back of his car, right? I don't know where this talit comes from. And therefore, Maran says, Psula, we decide not to purchase talitot from him. And I'm going to turn over the table to Dan. Dan has a show and tell presentation.
So here's a talit made by an entire non-Jewish factory. Okay, wow. So yeah, this individual told me. I said, well, how did you figure out how to make the tzitzit? She says, oh, well, I talked to my pastor. Oh, yeah, he knows how. So these look like a helical macrame kind of a.
Can I see those macrame?
Yeah.
Just the strings.
Yeah,
you can hold up to the top.
they put extra. They put their plaque on. They were doing some kind of.
I just want to see this part. No, you can leave
Yeah.
the talit by Dan. I just want to look.
Like, can you wear tzitzit made by
Correct.
non-Jew?
You know, this we already learned. No, obviously, a non-Jew, according to us, can't tie the tzitzit. This is not the question. The question is, what are they doing?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got the number of knots right. These whole twisty things, they look very similar to Sephardic twists, but it's actually very impressive. They've managed. It's really a flat, some kind of flat weave that, because of the tightness they tie it with, it turns around to look like twisty Sephardic tzitziot, but they're not actually kosher. Now, this purple string I've seen a lot. Essentially, according to them, they don't have any tradition about, like, it has to be from a certain kind of animal or this kind of thing. So anything that looks purple or blue or whatever they would like, they put on.
Well, I think you can order any color you want.
Oh,
You have-
oh,
if you want
wow.
blue- If you want black, you can get black. You know, if you want.
Look, can I see these blue ones? Let me straight.
You know.
Well, these are the corners. Can I see the top of it?
Here's a blue one.
How do we know that they're copying an Ashkenazi mold? Because they're using the 2 yud from the Ashkenazi Sidurim, which we don't use. So thank God they're using this, because this is not actually God's name. So it's yud. It's great. That one is Hashem's name, but that one isn't. The yud demarcation. Let me see these. The blue ones. The color is actually quite nice, I must say.
And this material isn't wool. This material is
What is it?
cotton.
It
It's
feels
spun-
very
it's-
high
it's
quality.
cotton.
Whatever they make this by hand. Or
Yeah,
it's like
they loom it. Yeah, they loom it all by hand, and it comes
Unbelievable.
from a loom in. The skilled tradesman comes from South America, and then they make this in town.
Granted, this is exactly the halakha we're learning today. This is why this is. And what is it? That's like a design or something?
Well, yeah, I guess they have certain ones that have like some kind of photo or design, and some just have, like this one has a lot of colors. The striping on it is not something that traditional. You know, it's hard to say what.
Well, it came from down south.
This striping looks a little more. Well, it's not. I was gonna say it looks more
I
traditional.
can see
but-
this at like a bar mitzvah. This kind of look going on.
Yeah.
And that the first one looks like it came from down beneath the border.
Yeah.
That's the style. It was a color
Serape-ish,
design.
yeah. But this one.
Are
is-
those black strings? Am I seeing correctly?
Yeah, you are. That's,
Is that kosher?
No, these are not kosher tzitziot.
That's
Oh, look at this. They even got this little like Yemenite fringe going on. See, the Ashkenazi fringes are just one layer, but this whole like 3 layer is it's not not even custom. It's just like a design that used to float around Yemenite circles. It's very
But what's the
cute.
material? Is it cotton or wool? Or
Cotton.
Cotton.
Yeah, so it's not the right material.
But it's kosher. The talit that we're using right here are plastic. That's
Yeah,
polyester. So
Plastic?
Polyester.
Really?
if you would light one corner of this, all you have left are the tzitzit on the corners. It would go up in a
flash.
yeah.
When you say plastic, what do you mean?
I mean, like polyester,
Nylon.
acrylic, like
Okay,
all the
yeah.
false.
Okay.
So it's only Durban.
According to Sfaradim, it's on the Rabbanan. According to Ashkenazim, that's perfectly okay.
The
I have to say,
Sephardim would prefer to get
Wool.
made of wool.
I have to say that they're beautiful. They're very high quality. But let me ask you, if they wouldn't tie these things in the corner, these are kosher to be used for a talit. There's no problem with a non-Jew making the clothing. The only problem is making the strings. But it's not so hard to find people who could tie strings. Like if there was going to be a Jewish version of these, you don't need to tell them that. You could figure out whatever you want to tell such people. But
Yeah, no, I mean, I was, question is like, what do you do with such people? You know, like if you do business with them, is that better than if you don't do business with them? Or it's hard to say. That's why we have to talk offline about that.
Why not? Let's
see.
we just finished the first section.
Yeah.
Let's skip the commentary for just a minute and read the second section, and you'll get an answer to your question. Okay, so I'm on 386, but we're gonna skip all the commentary. We're gonna do that today. Let's skip to 390. Okay, this by the way, they show this halakha, this page of the Gemara is very interesting. It has that famous source where Rabbi Yehuda would put tzitzit on his wife's clothing. So this is one of those gemahot that we conveniently like to look the other way from. But it's there. It's real. You could learn about it at a different time. I want to look one line before. The Gemara says that you cannot sell tzitzit that are kosher to non-Jews for two reasons. One more practical, one less practical. The first is, listen, I live in a country, forget Europe. Europe looked a little different. Imagine you live in the Middle East somewhere. Let's talk about Egypt. I wear a robe, Mahmoud wears a robe. I wear a turban, Mahmoud wears a turban. I have a beard, Mahmoud has a beard. I speak Arabic, he speaks Arabic. I have brown eyes, he has brown, whatever, you know, I have sandals, he has sandals.
He had a breast too.
Yeah. Very good. Oh. So, and in which way can I tell here? Well,
No, I'm sorry, I thought we weren't using the book.
it's okay, that's fine. In which way can I tell that he's Jewish? Meaning, how is this? What difference does it make if he's Jewish? It makes a difference the following. Mahmoud is the kind of guy that if I travel with him in a caravan to Syria, in the middle of the night he might kill me. And so I need to know, is he safe to travel with or not? How do you know? You check if he's wearing tzitzit. If he's wearing tzitzit, I can travel with him. If he's not wearing tzitzit, how do I know if he's the Jewish Mahmoud or the non-Jewish Mahmoud? Oh, is there such a thing as a non-Jewish Mahmoud, a Jewish Mahmoud? Okay, not Mahmoud, but one of the greatest Sephardic rabbis in the last few generations. His name was Rabbi Abdullah Samech. He was Rabbi Abdullah was one of the greatest Syrian rabbis. Rabbi Ovadia, and what does Abdullah mean? Abdullah, Abad, a slave of Allah. Ovad, yeah, I'm an Eved of Hashem. It's the same name. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't. Abdullah could be the same word, sure, different.
So it means a slave
dialect.
of
Servant of God, which is Ovadia. It's the same name as Ovadia. His name was probably also Rabbi Ovadia, son of, but we don't know him as Rabbi Ovadia. We know him as Rabbi Abdullah. That's his name. So how do you know which one's the Jewish one and which one is the non-Jewish one? You check his tzitzit. Now this was a very real concern. The concern was that we might trust people just because they're Jewish, and really they're not Jewish. And it's a time where people were not so kind to people who were Jewish, and it can get dangerous. And therefore, by me selling tzitziot to people who are outside of the fold, I'm potentially endangering someone's life. Imagine those two guys in Israel just a few months ago in Tel Aviv who dressed up like ultra-Orthodox Jews and went into a restaurant and started gunning people down. And they let them to the front door because, they look like two Jews. They wore a hat, they wore
imagine if
jackets,
they walked in at tzitzit.
Oh, then we would know.
Yeah, that would be a giveaway.
So in this situation, what we're being told is it's really dangerous to sell somebody a costume that might be able to fool other Jews. Because we're setting ourselves, this might be a real problem in Israel. I don't know. What happens if a guy comes into the Bekesha store and he wants to buy a nice Hasidic robe? Maybe we have to tell him, I'm sorry, but I can't sell it to you. They probably have to have a different way to say it aside from that. But it could be a situation where this might lead to, especially if his name is Abdullah, we might have to worry that he might use it for reasons that are not good. The second reason is very strange. It's very strange, but I think there's a lot of musal you can take away from it. The first reason is Mishum, maybe they'll kill us. The second reason says, Mishum zo, I don't want to say the word, Zayin Vav Nun Hey, it means prostitute in Hebrew. Because of the prostitutes. It's in Shulchan Aruch, we're taking prostitutes into consideration. What's going on here? Just imagine this story. Imagine there's a nice Jewish girl who becomes a prostitute. And she sees a guy with tzitzit and figures, hey, okay, he's a good customer. But he's not really Jewish. He just wants to go with a Jewish girl. And we're setting her up for failure by giving him tzitzit that he could fool her with. Or, Rashi says maybe there's another understanding. What does it mean, Mishum Zonah? It means maybe the guy will say, hey, I don't have money to pay you. But remember the story of Yehuda? And he says, take my robe, take my clothing, and if if I don't come back to pay you, come to the synagogue and announce, hey, I have this Jewish guy's talit, I need his money. It's just, so the non-Jewish guy will take a talit, he'll give it to her. Somebody will show up at the synagogue and say, hey, there was somebody who hired my services, he didn't pay me back, where is he? And it's going to cause an unnecessary chilul Hashem because it wasn't a Jewish guy who used her services. And therefore we have to take into consideration not to sell talitot for that reason.
was another part of this that said.
Not
but-
totally but tzitzit, you mean, right?
Talidot with tzitzit on them. I mean kosher tzitzit.
Kosher tzitzit.
Yeah.
So there's another part of it that says that if it's temporary, it's not a concern, according to what the translation.
Well, we're gonna.
Okay.
We didn't read this halakha. I'm giving an introduction here. What I walk away though from that second scenario, Rashi says it's the more unlikely. So it's not the most common scenario. What I find in that halakha is our rabbis were taking into consideration people who did not follow Torah mitzvot. You can't actually lo teh kedusha b'bnot Yisrael. It's forbidden to have such a woman among the Jewish people. Not just a woman, lo teh kadesh or kedusha b'bnot Yisrael. We can't have either of them. So the Rambam has a special piece in the Moed Nevuchim, and I am upset. I'm upset that Jews, we don't talk about these topics because we've been brainwashed by the Catholic Church that talking about sexual topics is forbidden. But in those areas which the Rambam files under the book called Kedusha, holiness, in those areas what we learn from what we're not allowed to do, we can actually learn a lot of Kedusha, a lot of holiness, if we would just talk about them in mature, sophisticated fashions. The Rambam says, you know why? No, that's not why. Obviously there's something wrong innately with hiring one's services for things that should only be kept between two people who are loyal to each other. But the Rambam says, you know, there's another concern our rabbis had about Jewish girls getting involved in such a field. And that is that there are always going to be men who manipulate these women for money. The Rambam says it's always going to be one person. He says very often it could be a family member, it could be someone she trusts, who he becomes the one who hires her to this guy, hires her to that guy, and he will end up abusing her. And the Rambam says that is the greater reason for why the Torah does not allow such behavior. It does not allow a woman to be put in a situation where there's a man who could manipulate her. It's a beautiful piece of law. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want, and we're not talking here about the sexual prohibition, but there's a greater social awareness that the Rambam doesn't want to have. He does not want to have people at the mercy of other people who will hurt them.
What a huge problem that is today. Like if that had been more publicized, you know, we would have it'd be like a real kiddush Hashem for it's like Jews don't, you know, Jews have this.
Absolutely. You know, there was an interesting piece that was written by a rabbi, a big posek in Israel, who is, you know, people struggling with internet and pornography addictions and whatever else happened. And this rabbi said, you know, forget all the things that people see that they shouldn't see. He said, but the people who were hurt, that were taken advantage of, that were because of lack of finances forced in this position, because to do things that they would have never done before in public. He says, how can we allow ourselves to lend a hand to such a, it's not a culture, such a, I don't know what it's called, such a mentality. Right, to such an enterprise. We're enabling these people to continue abusing other people. And that was, for me, I felt that, I don't know, perhaps with a person that could be a more convincing argument. The argument is on a social level. It's not on a level of, oh, like I said, I want to see whatever I want to see with my eyes. I says, great, you can see whatever you want to see with your eyes, but you can't do it on the account of somebody else who's being hurt and manipulated and whatever else is happening for such things. When you have this situation, I find that our poskim are coming and saying, we have to also take in the Jews that are using prostitution. We have to take them into account when we write a Shulchan Aruch. And today's attitude in the Jewish community, such people, who cares about them? Let them die, let them be hurt, let them... And our Chachamim are telling us you can't live a Jewish life like that. You have an obligation. We're coming to Yom Kippur. Harei אנחנו מתירים להתפלל את העבריינים, עם העבריינים. Depends what you decide to pray. I'm allowing myself to pray even with the criminals, even for the criminals. When we write a halakha, it must be geared towards all of Klal Yisrael, not just towards my little faction, my little group. Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, I love him. I heard the story in his name. If it's not true, the story is so true. The message is true. Could be that Rav Aaron Kandler, Rav Shalom, when people would come ask him halachic questions, he would always send them, I believe it was to Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky. And they said, why don't you answer? You're also a Rosh Hashiva. He said, that's the reason I don't answer. I don't answer because I'm a Rosh Hashiva. He said, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, before he came to America, was a pulpit rabbi, not a Rosh Hashiva. He said, a person who's in a yeshiva, he sits on this throne of Rosh Hashiva. He says, all the people in his yeshiva want to be more like him, more like the rabbis, more holy. He said, when he's posek halacha, when he decides halacha, he's not thinking about the water man, he's not thinking about the cars dealer, he's not thinking about the guy who owns a gas station, he's not thinking about those people. He's thinking only about the people who come to me, only about the people who are affiliated with my yeshiva. He said he can lead himself to create rulings which are impractical for the rest of the Jewish people. He said, but the one who is a community rabbi doesn't have the luxury, or I don't know if it's a luxury, doesn't have the environment where he can be picky about who he's teaching halachot to. And therefore, just like he has to take into consideration the up-and-coming Rosh Yeshiva, he also must take into consideration the simple Jew that might not even observe his halakha if it's too difficult for him. He said, and you're going to get a more well-balanced halakha from a community rabbi than you will from a Rosh Yeshiva. That intellectual honesty doesn't exist anymore in the Jewish community. And when you see Judaism going extreme, the reason it happens is not because people want to be extremists. It's because people live in places where it's okay to be an extremist. If I live in Yerushalayim, I live in Bnei Brak, I live in Monsey, I live in Lakewood, I can decide tomorrow, you know what, we're not going to eat any kosher food. We're going to only have our own hefsher. If I make such a thing, you know, on Shabbat, we're not even going to leave our house, whatever. We're not going to leave the synagogue. We're going to sit there from Friday night till Motzei Shabbat. It could be you'll find a few thousand people who listen to that.
It's hydroponic Judaism. It only exists in a hot house.
Very good. But they forgot about us.
Outside
They
it
forgot about the
doesn't grow.
Jews outside of their little neighborhood. And then this creates this par, the torch of halakha has been handed over to people who don't take all of Klal Yisrael into consideration. Not, God forbid, hating on the Rosh Yeshiva, but perhaps if he's not a well-rounded person, could excuse himself from meddling with such issues. Chacham Ovadia used to say that this is why it's important for a Rosh Yeshiva, not just to be a Rosh Yeshiva. Perhaps he should have a synagogue. Oh, but it's going to waste his time. It's going to be a lot of people fighting with him. But he says it's better. It's better he should have that
Keep him
attitude.
grounded.
That it will keep him grounded, connected to the people on the street. Rabbi Yosef wasn't a community rabbi, especially at the later part of his career. But he made it a point during this month of Elul with Rabbi Kaduli. 40 days, there were 40 different cities in Israel. And they would spend the whole night with people from the street, just saying slichot to them and learning with them and talking with them.
Wow.
To keep a pulse on the people. Where are the people? And I can tell that I was at a few great rabbis' funerals. A few of them in Yerushalayim. And some of them had 40,000 Jews. They were all yeshiva boys. They all looked the same. They all dressed the same. They all walked the same. When I was by Rabbi Yosef's funeral, there were over 1 million people there. People who had kippah, people who didn't have kippah, people that had hats, people that had shtreimels, people that weren't even Jewish. Because they felt that he cared about them also. He taught halachot about them also. Struggle with other things. But they were always taken into consideration. This mentality, Rav Moshe Feinstein had a similar mentality. Rav Moshe Feinstein didn't have the luxury to sit in Bnei Brak and decide halachot. He was living in the Lower East Side in Manhattan. He was dealing with the guy, the famous questions of Rav Moshe Feinstein. He comes to synagogue, he wants to pray, then he goes to a disco club on Friday night. And his question is, should he wear a kippah or should he not wear his kippah? Rav Moshe is a famous tshuva saying, I don't find that just because you violate one part of the Torah, you are then forced to violate another part of the Torah. Where do you have to be all or nothing in the Torah? And he was ridiculed by other rabbis for approaching, like, what do you mean? Well, the guy at the disco club, you let him into your synagogue? And the answer is yes, and that's why Rav Moshe Feinstein became Rav Moshe Feinstein, and you were only stuck in your little neighborhood,
So
and
what,
nobody heard of
what
you.
about the argument like when you go to a non-kosher restaurant, you wear a kippah going in, some other Jews might think that you're sanctifying and justifying the restaurant who is wearing the kippah.
Yes.
So if you go to a disco club and
So what you're trying to do is put me to the test.
I'm trying to have, I'm just,
No, you're trying to see what I'm going to say.
devil's advocate.
Correct. I have an unpopular approach about this. The approach is, listen, the guy who goes into the not-kosher restaurant wearing a kippah, he has his own calculations with Hashem why he's going to a not-kosher restaurant. But what kind of fool looks into a not-kosher restaurant and says, oh, look, there's a guy with a kippah, now I can eat a McDonald's. Who is this shallow that that's how he decides halachot? Go inside and ask if this place is kosher. I'm going to pin all the blame on this one poor guy who he's struggling so much in Judaism, he just leaves his kippah on when he goes to a not-kosher
That's a good
restaurant.
answer.
The answer, so what do they say? No, it's not that. It's because maybe your friends will think, remember the guy who goes to McDonald's because he has to use the bathroom? You can't, you have to wear a hat. Why? Because people are going to think that you eat non-kosher. What kind of friends do you have that when they see you going to McDonald's, they think you're going to eat non-kosher? It happens to me sometimes, I shop for all kinds of things in different stores, and I'm checking out, and then I bump into some rabbi from San Diego, and I see them all the time, they're eyeing my cart.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's
right,
not
right.
kosher bread. Interesting. That's all these judgments that are happening. You want to have a conversation with me, right? But it's a very strange mentality. Like, clearly, you're not my friend if you're eyeing my shopping cart. That's all I can tell you. This is sometimes I'm at Costco and I see the guy loading up with not kosher food, and they see me from the other side of the store, and they're going to the back aisles. I'm not ashamed. I don't want you have your own things with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So everybody struggles with something. Don't hate somebody because they sin differently than you. This is an old bumper sticker. I'm not being tolerant today about Tefillot. I'm just saying it's a very shallow understanding of the halakha. And so the guy, I don't think anybody's going to see a guy with a kippah in a disco club on Friday night and think, oh, maybe we could go dance to some trance music on a Friday night with flowing alcohol. I don't think that's the natural next step that happens in a person's head.
I
So
thought
that-
I knew you went there.
Let's read this halakha here. En mochin talit mitziyot to the goy. We cannot sell a talit that has mitziyot on it to a non-Jew. Shemei tlavei Misrael baderech v'yargenu. Because maybe he'll join a Jew on the road as a caravan, and he'll kill him. Ve'afilu lemashken ulafkid talit mitziyot to the goy. And even just to leave the talit as there's a word for it, collateral. Thank you. You want to borrow money. He has whatever it is. You say, listen, hold on to my talit. I'll be back for it tomorrow morning. So, he says, unless this is the kind of thing that is for a very short period of time. Meaning it's not long enough that he can get into a caravan and get into... It's a very... it's a few minutes. I'm going to leave it here. I have to get my wallet from the car. I'll be right back. The guy just doesn't want to let you out of the store. So, perhaps. It's for this reason that I'm very wary of sending talitot to dry cleaners or such. Listen, I can't tell you to halakha I'm not allowed. I could just tell you that I'm uncomfortable because of this piece of Shulchan Aruch. Now we're going to address a few issues, and that is our relationship with the non-Jews around us the same as them? Any non-Jewish guy who wants to get a talit can just log on to Amazon. He doesn't have to take yours. So if he wanted the talit to hurt somebody, he wouldn't take it from your dry cleaners. He would.
A pastor in Detroit gave Trump a talit.
But it wasn't a real talit. It was
No,
one
it
of
was
those
scarf
conservative
things.
ones. Yeah.
So there was a punchline that went with it that said, we're going to build a new mechitza and make the women pay for it.
Oh, they'll pay. They just don't know it yet, but they'll pay.
You should see the woman they're sending over to us from the ladies section. So here we have in the halakha, we have in Shulchan Aruch a situation where the question is, so why doesn't he mention the second reason not to lend it out? Probably because it's not a very applicable, it's not a very practical thing that we're concerned about. I want to stop here because I want to study a little bit about tshuva before we go into Arvit at 9:45.